Welcome to Artistic Adventures. We're continuing our Harajuku project today where we turn one of my monster high dolls into a Harajuku girl. We're going to be working on stockings and shoes in this video. Let's get started. I'm using t-shirt material for the stockings. I wanted them to be kind of thick, so not like hose, just more like actually like a stocking. So I want the front to be no seam, so the seam will be in the back. So I'm using a folded piece so that the front is at the fold and then cutting it out based on the shape of her leg. And I don't really have a pattern for this as usual. I just sort of am eyeballing it and we'll sew one and try it on and then we'll see if it's the right size or not. Their legs are so tiny that it's really it's really difficult sometimes to get it the right size. So we'll pull out the baby sewing machine and give it a try. So I'm going to sew around that back seam and trim it, and then sew the other side, the other stocking, and trim it so it's not such a bulky seam underneath. And I actually sewed that one twice because I didn't think it was small enough. Now I got my little turning tool out, and we're going to give this a try and see how it fits. So we're going to turn it, and then let's try it on the doll. And I noticed that around the ankle it's still pretty loose, so I'm going to actually pull it off and re-sew that area. The rest of it looks okay. All right, so I'm going to unturn it, and then we'll get the sewing machine back out and sew another seam on both of the stockings since the other one is pretty much the same size as the first one. And we're just going to sew that ankle part a little bit smaller. And of course, my sewing machine became unthreaded there. All right, so that's done. We're going to turn them now and put them on the doll. Hopefully this time they'll be okay. The only thing that's still a little bit lumpy is the toe part. There's not really much you can do about that. Um, we'll just have to take that into account when we're making the shoes. But overall, I think, yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now we've got our stockings on with the seam in the back. And I'm going to put some lace at the top. And there's more than one way to do this, of course. You could sew it on, but I'm just going to use glue for it. So what I'm going to do is turn down the top of the stocking about 1/4 of an inch on both sides. Then we'll put the lace around that, glue it in the back, and once that's dry, we'll put some glue around the base of the lace and turn the stocking up over the glue. And then it'll look like that it's attached to the stocking. All right, so we're gluing the back there, and you have to let that dry for a little bit so it'll hold. Once that's done, we'll just put a little bit of glue on the back part of the bottom of the lace and glue that first, and then we'll turn her over and glue the front part. So I did one leg and folded the stocking up. Now we're going to do the other leg, put a little dab of glue, fold the stocking up, and we'll turn her over and put glue on the sides and front and then pull the stocking up. And then we'll have our little lace-topped stockings. Now, for an added touch to this, I wanted to add some ribbon that would be tied at the side. So I'm going to take this pretty blue ribbon and cut 2 pieces that will be long enough to tie into a bow. And then I'm going to glue the middle of each piece on the inside of the stocking and clip that so it can dry. And clip that one also. And we'll set that aside for those to dry before we tie them. Just want to make sure they're nice and in place. Now we're going to start on the shoes. I made these polymer clay bottoms using the silicone mold that I had made earlier in a video. That's the shoe videos that I made, and that's the first one on making outer soles if you want to watch it. So I've got my outer sole here, and I'm not going to do an inner sole. I'm just going to put some ribbon. I'm doing a small piece that will go across the toe, and then a larger piece that will tie across the upper part of the foot. All right, and then I'm just going to let that side dry for a while, and we're going to go back and tie the ribbons on the doll stockings. See how that looks? So hard for me to tie these little bows. I don't know why. Maybe I have big fingers or something. I must. Anyway, got those tied on one side and going over and tying the other side. Once you tie them, you can kind of work on them to get them smaller. Just keep, you know, pulling them to a smaller size until you get it where you want it. And I'm trimming the tops, and there's our little bow on the sides of the stocking. And now we can go back and work on the shoes and glue the other side down. Now we do have that sort of thick part at the toe to worry about, but there's really not much we can do with it. Just take into account how much ribbon we need to go over the toe. And I'd already actually measured that off camera. Sorry I didn't show you that part. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. I get so excited. I want to finish it. See how it looks. All right, so now we're gluing the other side down. We glued the toe down and the strap on the other side. And now they're dry, we can try them on the doll. So we're going to slip our toe in the toe part. And now I'm just going to tie these up around her ankle. So I have another step that I want to do. And then I will tie them the way they will be finished. So I'm just going to tie these on to make sure they're tied tight so I can put another decoration on them. I'm going to put this little satin rose on the toe of the ribbon. So I'm taking a little dab of glue, put it right on the ribbon. I let that sit for just a little bit to get slightly dry, and then I put the rose on the toe. All right, so that's how it looks now. I'm going to let those dry and then go back and retie the upper ties so that they are just across the top of the foot, and there's our finished shoes. I think they turned out really cute along with the thick stockings. All right, so still lots and lots to do with this doll. I hope you're enjoying this series as much as I am. It's really fun, and I'm using lots of new colors that I don't normally use. So stay tuned. Next, we're going to be making some kawaii accessories. Very cute stuff. So subscribe and don't miss a thing. Thanks, and bye.